Well, hey, everyone.
What's up? What's going on?
Welcome to Faith, Love, and Coffee. I am Trish,
I'm Jamie.
and we are your hosts today. And speaking of today, happy Easter.
And don't
And
forget 420.
that's right, for those who partake.
We ain't mad at you.
Amen. But the real blessing for today is he is risen. So we celebrate that. I know that my family celebrates that. So happy Easter. Today's topic. What is today's topic, Jenny?
It is the healing power of community.
Wow. And that is a big topic, you guys. And of course, if you want to break this down later on, we can do that as well. But today is, just like she said, the healing power of community. So welcome in. If you have anybody who wants to be listening to this, or, we know that everybody actually is doing something for Easter. And if you are on with us, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're taking your time out, and you can listen to all kinds of podcasts, and thanks for choosing ours. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Again, I was talking to Jamie right before we started this podcast. And this is a big subject, community. I mean, what do we mean by when we say community? Like, to me, community is, of course, the people around you, or the people that you go to church with, and the people that you talk with. But, your community could also be just the people in your home, or your closest friends, the people that you spend time with a lot. Those are your community as well. But
And what some call a tribe now.
exactly.
Like that's the term, I guess, too, that they say my tribe.
Yeah. So that is, community can have all kinds of different meanings. But to most of us, it's for those people that like Jamie said, is our tribe, our community, our small group that we dote on or that we share time with. But let's take it a bit further, because there's so many out there that don't have community. And for those of you listening, that's why we built this podcast, is to build community, is to build, a place where people can feel safe and talk about what is on their minds, or what they need, or, just to talk. This is just a place to gab. Okay. And for you to feel safe.
I love that. A place to gab.
That's right. So, let's talk about some other community things that are out there. Like I was telling Jamie, I remember when I was in high school and I was a part of a chorus, we would do some community services. And that meant like going to a nursing home and singing to them. We even went out and fed the homeless on Thanksgiving. I mean, these experiences for me as a kid, as a teenager, were very impactful. And I say that because, the people who live on the streets who were homeless, they just were very happy to get what you gave them. Even if they said, "Oh, I don't want dinner, I just want a piece of pie," or "Yeah, I want the whole thing," or even after we finished serving, we would actually go out and sit with the community and talk to them. And really, a lot of them, that's all they wanted, was someone to just sit next to them and hear them out. And the nursing home as well. Some of those people who were at the nursing home were just left there. They have family, but the family hardly ever came around, or, even with the smaller kids they were there, they were happy to have the kids just roaming around the nursing home, and they were someone's grandchild, someone's great grandchild, but they were so happy to see little feet running across the floor. So
Oh,
community, I know. Community can mean so many things, but when someone says community, I guess my memory just goes right back to those two things.
mhm.
You
Yeah.
know? So
And I know we talked about doing this one because of Earth Day and how
yes.
typically on Earth Day people have something going on that they're doing to, help their community, whether it's recycling or even like here in our area we have what's called Arbor Days, and so they go
Mhm.
plant
Plant a
trees, they
tree.
do, yeah, all kinds of, so like that's what I think of when I think of like Earth Day and things like that coming up, community service and how to help, the
Yeah,
environment in our community. um
yeah,
and so I remember doing that, going to a nursing home too in elementary and going home and telling mom like how sad I felt because the people were just so much older than us, and they looked so sad, but they looked happy that we were there, but they just looked sad in their environment. Like you said, some get just left there. Um
yeah, that's true.
and that's a hard thing for me to do because we've had family members in nursing homes, and when we've
Mhm.
gone to visit, I leave bawling my eyes out, um, because it just, I don't think I could volunteer there or work there. I would love to help in other ways, and I'm thinking we'll talk about that too in another, like later on in this podcast, about,
Yeah,
you don't have to necessarily be physically there to volunteer and provide things. Um, because for some of us it's harder. Like I
mhm.
cry a lot, y'all. So
And
it's
that's understandable, but, there are other ways to,
yeah,
um, to volunteer your time, volunteer your finances, whatever it is that you feel that you need. But again, we'll get further into that.
yeah, yeah.
So we often hear that, and community is important.
Hmm.
But there is a scientific evidence that backs this up, you guys.
Yeah.
So there is a study, a Harvard study of adult development, and it's actually one of the longest running studies ever, like over 80 years old. Okay, like this study's been going on for over 80 years now. Um, and what I found very interesting is that they found that. I mean, what would you think? I mean, would you think that what would you think would be the number one factor to living a happy and healthy life would be?
Most of us probably think about money.
Right. Money or wealth or fame or something like that. Oh, if I only had this much money. Oh, if I only had, you know,
Yeah.
if I could just see my name in lights. You guys know, no, no, no. What they found out is that the number one thing is relationships. So just like Jamie had said, it's not money, it's not career success, but meaningful connections. So yeah, that was kind of really odd for
Yeah.
me to see because I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah.
But then when you hear about other things like nurses, they'll say, I was with this person when they passed away, and I would ask them, what do you regret about not doing in life? And a lot of the time it was spending the time with the people that I loved.
Hmm. Wow.
So,
So
and again,
powerful.
it wasn't, yeah, and again, it wasn't money, it wasn't career, because some of them were so career obsessed that they forgot their family,
Their
their
relationships.
relationships.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, and a lot of the nurses, I do quite a bit in like near death experiences and all that kind of stuff, and or end of life terms. There's this one lady on YouTube that does that. Like she helps. She's a hospice nurse, and this is like some of the things that she's been told. So I think it was very interesting in how well it just connected here. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even thinking about even bringing that up until I just thought of it. Um, but how interesting is that, you guys? I mean, we're so obsessed with everything else that we really don't pay attention to the people around us. Like
Mm,
what gets us is like what's on here, you know, or something on the TV or something like that. And so, really we do really need to try to disconnect with those things. Um
mhm.
and Jamie, isn't there another study?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one is out of, UCLA, and this one is kinda like, um it kind of when I read it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that might be what's going on with me." And it's only because it says, when we're lonely, our stress hormone, which is that cortisol everyone's always talking about, spikes, and it
Mhm.
causes inflammation in the body. And so it's not only is loneliness an emotional feeling, but it's also can be a physical experience as well. And that right there is kind of, and I'll say this almost kind of like as an empty nester, because we don't do as much anymore. Like our kids are adults, and I'm speaking only now from like that aspect of my life, being an empty nester in perimenopause. Things you tend to have more loneliness than you did before. Because I remember like when Devin was here, there was always a busy moment. Something was always going on. I didn't
Right.
catch myself like, oh gosh, I'm so lonely. I don't have like, but now that he's an adult, and then again everything else, I'm like, oh, is that where like maybe that's what's happening? Part of that loneliness and not having a real big community of people around me at the moment, right?
Right.
um, has caused some physical experiences. And I think I would agree with the UCLA study.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that that would, like, affect us physically,
hmm No, I
right?
never like because you think about people like you think about depression, people who are lonely. You think, oh,
Yeah.
they're depressed. Well,
Mhm.
yes and no, but some of it really could be that they just don't have that community of people, a good
Yeah.
community of people.
Mhm. Like, where you're emotionally supported, you know?
Yeah.
And then when you are emotionally supported, and the part of that study is that when you're supported, you make healthier choices. So that would help. So being surrounded by people who care, and encourage us to eat better, move more, and take better care of ourselves.
hmm Oh yeah,
Um, and that's,
I love
that's,
that.
and sometimes when you want to say, you could go to your group and say, listen, y'all, I'm not feeling my best. I have a hard time getting up. I have a hard time, just moving around. Yeah, can y'all encourage me? Can you help me? Don't be afraid to do that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they're there to help you live longer.
Yes.
So anything to help you live like I had told, well, Jamie already knows she's my sister. But I do have a 14-year-old and I am 56, y'all. I had her late in life. I need to move around more. I need to do all those things because I know that high school's coming up. And I know, just like Jamie had said, those years are going to pass by really, really fast. You
hmm
talk about needing community, boy, in this particular season of our life that's coming up, this is where community is going to be really important for me.
Huge, huge.
Huge. So,
Mm,
I need that support. And if any of you are going through the same thing, please reach out. Would love to connect. Love,
mhm.
love, love to connect.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, excuse me. So if you're feeling isolated or your energy is low, check in with your local community. Join that group that you've been thinking about. Chat with your friends, volunteer at your local church pantry. And connection is just good for your soul and your
Mhm.
body. It's what it needs,
It really only takes hopefully reaching out to even just one person that you're in need of something. That happened to me. I reached out to my coworker. She used to be my assistant in the classroom, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going through some stuff." She got me in a little group chat with another one of our former coworkers, and so almost every day, y'all, they send something like positive, motivational, just to kind of keep that like good vibes going. So hopefully it just takes one to get that ball rolling. And if that one is one of us or both of us, then there you go.
Mhm. And that leads us into our next segment, which is the role of faith-based communities, okay?
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly where great segue, Jamie, because that, brings us into that point right there. So,
It
not
really, I
only
love
is it
this one.
great, I mean, this also I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I love this one. This second part of the faith-based communities, the role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the churches, women's groups, spiritual circles, they offer space for healing also.
Mm,
We're not just
absolutely.
talking about just, going for the gab, which is good. Don't get me wrong. There's great gab out there, okay? But it's a space for you to heal if that is what you're needing,
Yeah.
because some of us are always going through something, you know, like it could be in very close proximity, um, going through a separation, going through a divorce, losing a child, losing a friend. And I'm not just talking like losing a friend or a child, like in death, but maybe
Exactly.
they don't call you that often. They don't,
Mhm.
they've separated themselves from you because of whatever reason. And
Yeah,
we need healing for that, right?
absolutely.
So it's hard to navigate when, you've had somebody in your life for so long and all of a sudden they're not around. Okay. So we all need a period to grieve for that and to heal from that. And that's where community comes in as well. And I promise you that, if you find a women's group or a church out there that offers any kind of small group, do it. It's
Mhm.
so healing. You
Yes.
know, I'll give you an example too. I've always been a part of it, not always, but for a good part of my church going years, and we still go to church. Um, but we've been part of small groups, and my husband and I, we would go into a small group. I think we did this like 3 years in a row where it was called Reengage. And that was just for couples. Same book. Okay, same book every single year that we went, but I kept a log of, I kept different spiral notebooks for each time that we went. And every time I would go back and reflect to see how our relationship, may have stayed the same or it's different, but every single time I've gone back, it was different because, excuse me, every single time that I went back and compared, um, it was different because we always we were trying to find ways to serve each other. And when you're in a marriage, when you find that serving each other is one of those things um that makes you bond more. And this is actually listening to the love languages and everything else like that. If you don't know
Mm.
what I'm talking about as love language, well, we can put that resource down at the bottom. There's so many books on it now.
Yeah.
But I do know what I do know what my love language is, which of course is acts of service. And I know what my husband's love language is, which is physical touch and words of affirmation.
Okay.
So, not
When I
afraid to
took
share
that
that.
we had to take that quiz, 1 year before we, as a teacher, went into our classrooms to figure
Uh-huh.
out which kind of, like, was good. I had no idea I mean, I knew about that, but I did not know until I
Uh-huh.
took that quiz, and mine is, oh my gosh, and I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but it's the, like, time, like, I want quality
Oh,
time,
yeah.
or, like,
Yeah, the quality
it's
time.
called
That's my
something else,
second
yeah,
one. Mhm.
yeah, that's my
That's my
first,
second one.
like,
Yeah,
it can be
absolutely.
watching a movie on the couch, and, like, I'm just glad that that person is there or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
And that's yeah.
do you have a way to let me see. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna try to find that where if,
Oh,
like,
okay,
somebody
that's
wants to
fine.
take the quiz.
All
I think
right.
it's, like,
So,
free now.
uh, right. So in these social circles like at church and stuff, they're not just on Sundays. They actually what do you call it? They take in consideration what days you're available, all that kind of
Mm,
some have Wednesdays, some small groups they meet on Tuesdays, every day of the week, if Sunday is not a good day for you. So just check with your local church if you're not a part of the community, if you're not part of that. Most churches, you do not have to be members of that church to be in a group. Like I know the two most influential churches for me, I'm here in north of Atlanta, Georgia, and the two churches for me are 12 Stone and North Point Community Church. And each one of those has their small groups, but you do not have to be part of the church to be part of a small group. As long as you want to get in, then get in, you know.
Exactly. Yes.
So, and because it's just a way for you to feel connected, and you will feel connected if you're in the right group. And don't be ashamed or afraid to go from group to group until you find the one that you like.
Mhm.
You know, people are like, "Oh, I'm
Exactly.
obligated. I'm here." No, you're not. No, you're not. If
No.
anything, if it is a great church and the communities in that church, they want you to find your tribe. Just
Mhm.
like Jamie was saying, they want you to find your tribe. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to get out there. And if you want to try a couple of groups, try a couple of groups until you
Mhm.
find the one that's good for you.
Agreed.
So yes, because not every group is going to be that for you. Because you're like, oh, I thought this was going to be different. Then go to the next one.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
And
um,
another suggestion, if you're kinda like me, you don't like to go out too many, you have, like, anxiety about meeting new people and being around other people,
mhm,
um, invite a friend, see if they wanna go. I know my former assistant, we went together and we were going because we just have that in common.
uh-huh,
And the other option is, Facebook groups are out there, and some are kinda tricky, y'all, because they get off topic and become extra special. But there are
mhm,
genuinely some good Facebook groups out there, that you could also become a part of, and just to get some of that, started. And then
yes,
through those Facebook groups, they may actually meet because I'm in an empty nesters group actually that's very wonderful. Nothing crazy has gone on yet, but they met close by here in the DFW area back in March. Um, and so that was a way also for everyone to get together who lives in this area and be like, "Hey, it's me," or whatever. I did not attend, unfortunately. But again, that's some options.
that is a great point. Because if you're looking for something, look for something local. If it's in the Facebook, domain, look for something local that you can do, or meetups. There are meetups still going on.
Oh yeah.
I know that may be an older term that y'all may not think of, or y'all haven't even not heard of it. Yeah, do meetups. Google meetups in your area, and they're gonna have tons of them. They'll be like for moms or for
Star
single
Wars
people,
lovers.
or yeah, I mean all kinds of meetups, you guys. And if
There's
you
so
don't
many.
see one and you want to create one, do that. I'm hoping,
Mm.
listen, like the plans that I have for Faith, Love, and Coffee, you guys. I mean, yeah, I am planning to have a group also on Facebook, but the plans that I have is to be almost like this woman who has this once a month thing going on here in my community that she it's I'll figure out what it's called in just a second. It'll come to my mind. But it's where women come together once every month on a Thursday, and she'll have a special speaker or a book she wants to review or that she goes over because it has influenced her. And she does have her own podcast, but she does have those meetings once a month. And of course, it's like $20 a person a head, but you get this beautiful charcuterie like table that you can just grab your all your munchies, and then they have like wine and water at the end of the table, so that is all included in that. And then you get to have a beautiful time for the next 2 hours with women who are wanting the same thing that you do.
I
So,
love
I mean,
that.
it is so awesome, and I'm kind of hoping to be able to do the same thing. And then hopefully, again, she and I we can probably connect. I got big plans. I have big plans. So if any of y'all have any kind of like suggestions or anything, please drop them in. The comments. I mean, I think it's just again, community is so important, and I just love that. But getting back to our role of faith-based communities, There again, research has shown that people involved in spiritual or religious communities tend to have stronger mental health outcomes.
Hmm.
Y'all, really? I
Yeah.
mean, come on. And then lower rates of depression and even longer lifespans. Who would not want that?
Yeah.
I do, for
Yeah.
sure. And the reason why is because you're prayed for. You're
That is
prayed for.
amazing.
People want, yes,
I
they
love
don't want you to walk through this life alone. They're like, everybody's passing their number to each other. Hey, if you need me day or night, give me a call. I'll
that's
be there,
exactly right.
or even if you just want me to listen on the other end, or if you want to meet somewhere to Denny's or IHOP or whatever's 24 hours these days,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
something like that.
No, it's true.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
it's not just about the sermon at church, y'all.
Right. Yes.
But that's very powerful too. Hey,
It is.
it
It
is.
is.
It is. All right. So then let's see. So we have here also our other segment, which is community services as a path to healing. Now, we just talked about this not just a few minutes back, y'all. Okay. But again, there's more evidence about being in community.
Wow. I
So
did not realize. I mean,
go
again,
on.
no, I mean, I did not realize until we all just do what we do, right? And
Right.
just it feels good. It's, whatever you want to call it for yourself. But all these studies showing how powerful it is kind of, I mean, an exceptional concept.
Hmm.
Um, the thing that caught my eye here, and this is the study from Carnegie Mellon University that found people over 50 who volunteer regularly had lower blood pressure. I don't
Hmm.
have high blood pressure, but
I
that's
do.
amazing. Right.
I
So many
do.
people do. And it
Yes.
says just 200 hours a year, which sounds like what? But that's about 4 hours a week was
Mhm.
enough to improve their heart health.
That is totally wild.
Like, what
Well,
jaw dropping? What?
like
Um,
what? Just 4 hours out of my time? Come on, y'all. We spend
that's
4 hours just binge watching, okay? Like, I
oh, for
can't
sure.
get like
I know
I
I do.
started a new series called, Call the Midwife, which is an awesome series, but I spent 4 hours of my time yesterday just doing that, and I
Oh,
could have
yeah.
been volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "What in the world? I had no idea. I had no idea." And some of those
Yes.
things they were saying, well, not really the study itself, but, like, some things that you don't even think about, are ways that you're, giving back to someone is just, um, volunteering at church, being present for a friend, um taking food to someone in need, and that's like what you were saying, volunteering on Thanksgiving or at any
Mhm.
time really.
Yeah.
But then for like me, again, some of those situations make me very emotional, and I don't know. So I give monetarily, right? So
Yes.
I do.
Mhm.
I give monetarily because I know how I am. Now I can volunteer with kids, maybe at a school or something. You know what I mean? Like because that's my
Yeah.
teacher thing. But um, some of these ways that are being suggested, I'm like, I didn't even how simple.
But here's the great thing, because while you're doing this with others, imagine this is actually healing for them,
Absolutely.
but it is also healing for you,
Mhm. Yes.
and it makes you feel good, makes those endorphins start, you know,
Yeah,
shooting off, and you get this
exactly.
feeling like, "Oh, that felt so good,"
Yeah, yeah.
So I think, yeah, 100%. But that was so kind of weird to see that, like how that would lower your blood pressure by serving others. But then when you think about how your body reacts to that kind of thing, I can totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally
No,
get
me
it.
too. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
Um,
know, like, in that church group that I've been going to now, I haven't gone for the last couple of weeks, but I can see how that lowers a lot of everything you're even going through because other people are talking about what's going on with them. You
Mhm.
kind of zone out from what you're going through because you start
Right.
listening to them and you're like, oh my gosh, let's see how we can, like you said, pray for you,
Right.
get you in this group chat or whatever.
Exactly. So now that you've said that, like you said, you've not been there for, a couple of
Couple of
weeks.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, can you feel the difference?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and even though we still, like, chat in the group and everything, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've missed the people, I've missed, the conversations." I feel myself, like, more emotional, um,
Mhm.
also when before I was like, "Okay, leaving that group, everything is good," you know what I mean? And I'd be good until the next week, for the
Right.
most part, and now, yeah, I can tell a difference. It's like, "Dang, I
Yeah.
need to get back."
Yeah, or even if it's just like, you guys, even if, like, say, for instance, you cannot make it, physically, but you can do something like this. Like, if
Mhm.
y'all get together on Facebook, or you're, like, doing a live call, Teams, there's so many different outlets you can actually
Yeah,
do out
for
there.
sure.
I mean, it is also almost the same as being there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Oh,
think
for
it's
sure.
very healing either way if you can get
Yeah,
there. You know what I'm
COVID
saying?
hey, COVID taught us that. You can meet online.
Okay. And thank goodness for the people who are paying attention, because they came up with all these platforms that we could. Okay.
100%.
So if you're not somebody who was ready to go out or anything else like that just yet, hey, you know,
Oh, yeah.
get on a call like that. Well, this is StreamYard. But this goes out to several platforms, but not just this. I'm talking about the platforms themselves, like Facebook Live, or you can call each other on Facebook. I remember we did that
Yeah.
with our cousins one time.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
used to talk with our cousins. We would get together once a week, and we would all get on Facebook,
Mhm.
and we would just it would be one call, and all of us would be on that call.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And it
It
just
was a
made
lot
us
of fun.
laugh. Oh my God, it was so much fun. You guys, our family is crazy. I
Yes,
mean, we
it's
have
a
cray
lot of
cray
fun.
people, okay? But they're
Yeah.
wonderful, every single one of them.
Yeah,
But
it's fun.
we have such a good time. I mean, we were the laughing and the laughter and falling out of our seats. I mean, serious, and I mean literally. I
Yeah,
mean, falling out of our seats because
so
it
much
was
fun.
so fun. You guys, I mean, if you can do that with your family and connect like that, it is just amazing.
Mhm.
So, um, actually, I really wish Jeanette was on this. Like, if she was listening, if she would just ping in and say something, because I know she volunteers a lot.
Mhm.
So, shout out to
That's
our
a lot.
cousin Jeanette. Um,
Exactly.
was she maybe coming on with us also, you guys, just to let you know that we may have a third person coming on with us. Maybe not all Sundays, but any Sunday that she can give.
Yes.
Um, but moving on, there's also um like there's some documentaries, yeah, on TV and stuff, and or even on books and magazines or whatever. But there are places called blue zones. And this is not the first time that I've seen this, because we're pulling up studies and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
blue zones, you guys, these are places around the world where people live the longest. Like, we're not talking like 70 or 80. We're talking like in the 90s and the hundreds. Okay.
Okay.
So, yes. So, and do you know what they all have in common? It's not just healthy food or exercise, but strong daily connections and service, because they're around each other all day. It's almost like they come out and they eat together every day. So it's like they built that really strong bond, and they built their lifestyle and around that, and it changes everything. So
So
not only
as
do they eat well, they eat healthy food, they exercise, but they do everything like together, like in a community setting.
and there's actually a book called the Blue Zones. I just was
Yeah.
Googling it while you were talking.
Yeah.
And so here's some of the places real quick, just in case you're ready to make a change and move somewhere. Um,
Yeah,
there's,
some of these are like out
oh,
there,
no,
y'all.
there's only one, it looks like, in, the USA,
Yeah.
but some of the places are, Greece, there's an island
Oh,
in Greece,
Sardine
Italy,
what is it?
Sardinia,
Sardinas or Sardinas?
Italia
Yeah, something like that.
in Italy, I'm sorry, Sardinia, Italy,
Okay.
Okinawa, Japan.
Who would have thought,
Yes,
y'all? Poking out. I mean,
and
that's a
then
big place too.
let's see, there's a place in Costa Rica, which I've heard lovely things about Costa Rica, and then the last one, it's called the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. So,
Mhm.
this is, but it's like it's their diet, it's everything, but that's again, those are just some of the few
And
places
that,
that came
the
up.
Seventh-day Adventists, that's a whole community, not just in California, but everywhere.
For
Everywhere.
sure. But
But
when it
this
said,
one, I guess, must be that close to where they're,
in the US.
participating in that or
Yeah.
considered a blue zone in
Yes,
California. Wow. I
yes.
mean, wow. That is
That
impressive.
is amazing. I had no idea about that.
Mm-mm.
I'm now
So
interested because Italy
that is,
sounds lovely.
although I commend everybody. I mean, that is true commitment and true love, you guys.
It is.
That is, but so many of us, and this, well, for me, I can't say all of us, but for me, a lot of us were brought up in different lifestyles, different homes, different, communities. Um, I would say that my childhood was fantastic when I lived down with my grandmother. I don't think I could imagine a happier life, a happier time in my life. And we were poor as all get out, but I was so happy. I mean, we had, uh, I remember I grew up. Well, I can't say I grew up. I only lived a few years, and it was a place called Robstown, Texas. And we lived in this white house. I can't remember the street. The only thing I remember about this place is that there was like a cornfield in the back. There was a pomegranate tree in the front, and there was like a ditch that ran beside us. However, from that ditch, what came out the sugar cane. And then there was a propane tank and things like that. But we would break off that sugar cane and just like munch on it. And then our fingers would be so red from the pomegranates during the summer that I mean, but these are just a few things. And then when we moved, when my grandfather died, we moved over to my grandmother's house in Orange Grove. Again, sugar cane. We didn't have the pomegranate trees, but we had this tree, and I can't remember if it was some sort of tree, but it were berries. Berries were on it. And again, our fingers were stained red because of those berries. But it was the best time. But also, that's when everybody met at grandma's house and everybody had dinner
Mhm.
with grandma and everybody had, and those are memories that I will always have. And that's kind of like when I get older and I want to, my daughter hopefully will well, I can't say that. If she decides she wants to get married and have kids, I would love that here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And have that, or be in a place where their hands can be red, and we can have, they can just have those memories with grandma. And I just that kind of community, because
Mhm.
after dinner we would get up and we would go walk around the entire well, I can't back then it wasn't a neighborhood. Now it is. But the neighborhood, and we would walk around there like twice and then come back in. We would eat, walk. I mean, it was eating and then walking, exercise. And
Mhm.
it was just the best time. But then I lost that. I came to a place where um it was busier. Like, this was out in the country, okay? And then we
Yeah.
came back, and then I came and moved to, the city, and it was busier, and we didn't go outside and walk around the neighborhood, and we didn't, sit at home and have those meals together and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like where, like, as an adult, we move into those practices because, you learn those, right? So your community kind of falls away a little bit.
Mhm.
But, but going back into that, like, I commend those who really do bond in that kind of community and
Yeah.
who, come together for that kind of strength, because I live in Georgia. My family is in Texas. And whenever I go to Texas and I'm around my family, it can it definitely strengthens me. Because
Mhm.
there are just sometimes when I'm here and I'll tell my husband, I said, listen, I need to go home. I need to gather my strength. And I need that.
Mhm.
So, I'll go home and I'll be there for a week or whatever. And it is so healing and so wonderful to be around people who love you and um, give you what you need. So that way, when you go back to where you live, you
Mhm.
have that to carry you on until the next time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with that being said, um, I want to challenge. Let's do a challenge here. Okay. And I think this is something that we all should probably do, you know. Um, for this week, step into community in a new way. Okay. Join a women's group, volunteer for that ministry, or even check in on someone who might be feeling alone.
Yep.
Okay.
It's free
Uh,
and simple,
yes. Yes. And
especially for
if you do have a community, deepen it. Make that extra phone call,
Mhm.
or if they've told you something and you forgot, hey, I forgot. Hey, your kid went to so and so. How did that happen? How did they feel?
Yeah, how'd it go?
You know, like
Mhm.
my daughter had her eighth grade dance on Friday. When I popped on with Jamie, the first thing she asked was, how does she, how does she
Mhm.
like her
Did she have
dance? And I was
fun?
like, oh my gosh, you guys. I mean, just that and just with as soon as she asked me that, just the happiness
Mhm.
just started coming out because I'm like, oh my God, she was beaming from ear to ear. And it was
Yeah.
and being there for that first moment, you guys, when she got into the car was everything.
Mhm.
Everything.
Yep.
So it was amazing. Um, so anyway, well, that's our segment for today. You
Yeah.
know, that is our segment. Just remember that healing doesn't always happen in private. Um,
Mhm.
Sometimes it happens between us, right?
Yeah.
Just like I said. And just like we've been talking about. So if you feel free to leave us any comments, messages, anything you want to on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook. Um, And there's other stuff coming, you guys. I promise there is. We're just getting things together. We're revving up, and this is just the beginning. I'm happy that this is episode number 6, which is great. And I think we've got, what have we done so far, Jamie? I said that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got one more
I was gonna
next
say, I think
week.
we're pushing 10,
Next week will be our 10th episode, you guys. I am so excited.
right? So
Um,
exciting.
I know. And so our next episode, which will close out April. And
Yeah.
April is Stress Awareness Month. So what is going to be our next topic?
It looks like, let me see. Hold on. I may not be with this program right now. Oh, mindfulness and meditation practices.
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
yes.
I'm still
Oh,
working on that part.
no, listen. And this is so, I mean, we've had so much to talk about in April. So if you've missed anything, go back and check us out.
Yeah, we
We've
talked
had
a lot.
the stress awareness. We've had because again, April is stress awareness month, but we've had, that 4-part series on anxiety and stress. And then last week we had on autism and faith, which is very, close and dear to us
Huge.
also.
Yeah.
And today, of course, is community, but we're closing out with mindfulness and meditation practices. So hopefully we can give you a few things that will help with, bringing this all to a close, but
Mhm.
something that you can do, you know, every day of your life if you wanted to,
Yes.
this.
Because this is the reason behind that part too, is because in May is actually mental health awareness month. See, so like April kind of just is stress awareness and kind of keeping those
Mhm.
things. But May is mental health awareness and how we all just need so
Yes.
many things.
And we've got a great lineup for May, you guys. So please stay tuned.
Excited.
Join us. Hey, if you know anyone who can get anything out of this, listen, we're looking for people to interact with us.
Hmm.
So, interact with us live. So if, like let's say for instance, you're dropping a comment or something and we're moderating that and Jamie's like, hey, Sissy, somebody said this or somebody's asking this, we can break that down. Let's talk about it together, you guys. I mean,
Hmm.
this is what we're here for. We don't want to just gab with each other. We're trying to gab to y'all, but we want y'all to gab back, you know? So thank you again for joining us at Faith, Love, and Coffee. So remember to keep faith, spread love, and savor every sip of life. Until the next time, take care and keep brewing positivity.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
And we'll see y'all later.
Next
Bye.
week.